Lagos. Now, TVC News senior reporter Theophilus Ilama joins me from his residence in Lagos. And other people would also be joining us. We'll have the Abuja Bureau Chief and the senior political correspondent Ayo Dele Ozugbakon join me. We'd also have Shola Ibisheni, who is secretary of the Afenifere group in the camp of Ayo Adebanjo. Let's start with you, Theophilus. What is the atmosphere there at the Lekki residence of Pa Adebanjo following his passing?
Mixed, quite somber, of course, quite exciting for a lot of people because from the interviews we've had and discussions we have had with some of the people that came to pay their condolences, he had lived a fulfilled life. Some people told us that he had been giving them warnings about a year or so ago, telling them that he's in his prime and he's in his last stage of his life, and so whatever he's telling them, they should take it as an advice from someone who is leaving the earth. But they did not, a lot of them said they didn't know he was going to go too soon. So they extolled the virtue of Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Of course, they talked about the fact that he was a forthright leader who had the interest of the Nigerian nation at heart, and that is one thing that they will miss about him, is truthfulness to national issues, and the fact that he always stick his neck for the ordinary Nigerians who he believed deserve to enjoy the true dividends of democracy. So a lot of people here have come just happy at the fact that he lived a fulfilled life. Chief Bode George has just left the compound. Emeka Anyoko also left the compound. But before we came on air, Senator Gbenga Daniel walked in to visit the family, and so once he comes out, we'll have a word with him on the life and times of Pa Ayo Adebanjo.
We know that resident must be a mecca of sorts at the moment, with different people trooping in, to pay their condolences. But, what have you seen really about, his family, coming to terms with the fact that he's actually transitioned?
Well, I spoke earlier with one of his children, his son precisely, and he talked about the fact that he will miss the times he always have with his father, because he told me that he has, beyond the fact that he was is a national figure to Nigerians, he enjoys quality time with his father, and that's what he said he was going to miss about him. The fact that the father always speaks truth to power, and the fact that whatever you see of his father in public is same with his father in private life, and the father is a true father, a true figure, not just to the family, but to the nation. So the son told us he was going to miss the father in diverse ways, and the fact that he always looks forward to speaking with his father. Whenever he speaks with the father, he gets some insight into some wisdom from the elderly, and so this is what he is going to miss from his father. And of course, we had some other family members who are here who have enjoyed being with him one-on-one, and so they said they were going to miss the fact that the fatherly advice he gave. Of course, even Chief Bode George talked about the fact that he gets some advice from Pa Ayo Adebanjo, and so this is what he was going to miss. And of course, he also talked about the fact that he is also in his prime and he's also leaving the earth, and so he is also working towards ensuring that Nigerians enjoy the dividends of democracy, and of course they understand what it means to have true democracy.
All right, Theophilus Ilama, thank you very much for that update for us from Lekki, resident of Pa Adebanjo. Well, let's now bring in the secretary of the Afenifere group that's in the camp now of Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Mr. Bisheni, you have worked closely with Pa Adebanjo in the past. What would you say he'll be remembered for?
I think all cannot be said about what Chief Ayo Adebanjo represented in one interview like this. You have done a collation of views of eminent Nigerians about who Ayo Adebanjo or what he represented. And let me say that in the last couple of years, let's say in the last 15 years, up to 20 years, Ayo Adebanjo has committed himself to a true federal Nigeria, which will be brought about by the restructuring of the federation. He was a man who had seen it all as a member, as a very prominent member of the Action Group. He saw what Nigeria was when we had autonomy of the regions and in a better federal state like we have now. And so his agitation in the last 2 decades have been to reenact true federalism as a basis for governing Nigeria, having in mind that Nigeria is a federation of entrenched ethnic nationalities. And so most of the time, what we give every nationality in Nigeria a true sense of belonging to the federation is what Ayo Adebanjo represented. And at any point in time, one thing that everybody knows about him is that you do not need to close your eyes to want to know the position of Ayo Adebanjo on any issue. He has more than abundant conviction or abundant courage of his conviction. As a matter of fact, those of us who have the privilege of being with him or working closely with him, being with Ayo Adebanjo is a lecture every day about Nigeria. And he has such a powerful memory that every issue that everything that has taken place in Nigerian political circle, particularly from 1951, when our Action Group was created or was founded, till now, till the treasonable felony saga, till everything that has to do with Nigerian politics, Ayo Adebanjo will tell you not just the events, the dramatis personae, and the exact date that they occur. It's a great loss, not only to his family or to the Afenifere socio-political organization, but to the entire Nigerian state. You know where you are with Ayo Adebanjo, and every day with him is a learning experience for those of us who had the privilege of being so close to him, who miss him a great deal.
All right, Mr. Ebishene, we will need to, take a break now. We'll come back to you for, more thoughts about Pa Adebanjo. But let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get into that story. You're watching TVC News at 7. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Please stay with us on TVC News at 7. Well, we are talking about the life and time of Pa Ayo Adebanjo, who is a nationalist, a leader of the Afenifere Pan-Yoruba group. And of course, we've been getting reactions to his passing, born in 1928 and, passed away peacefully earlier this morning. We're speaking with the secretary of the Afenifere group, that's the camp of Pa Adebanjo. We also have Abuja Bureau Chief Ayodele Ozubakun join us. Let me come to you now, Ayo. Over the years, you've had interactions with, Pa Adebanjo. In your journalism career, what would you see as some of your fondest memories of him?
I met Pa Adebanjo sometimes in December 1999. I remember that time we used to hold a meeting of the Afenifere group used to hold that meeting in a Papa house of Chief Ayo Adesoya that time. So it can be described as, one of the last men standing in the inner caucus of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. So we go to a Papa for the meeting, and most of the time when you look at him, you discover that the zeal, as 25 years ago, the ability, the agility, the conviction. And when you look at the tribute, if you read through the tribute of Mr. President says something that President Bola Tinubu, he assisted President Bola Tinubu in 1999 when he was running for the primaries, when he wanted to emerge as the candidate of the Alliance for Democracy. He said so. Fast forward in 2023, this same man that stood with Bola Tinubu in 1998, 1999, for him to emerge as the governor of Lagos State, this same man actually supported the Labour Party presidential candidate, that's Peter Obi, to tell you the kind of man he is. He's a man of conviction. A lot of people will say Peter Obi is from the southeastern part of the country, and he still stood by him all through and through the campaign of the Labour Party. He said, look, this is where Afenifere is going. And as the leader or factional leader of Afenifere, he stood his ground in spite of the pressure, in spite of the splintering of the group. If you remember, Afenifere was, splitted into two groups, one led by Elder Ruben Fashoroti, and another led by Ayo Adebanjo. But the man stood his ground, despite the fact that he has helped assistant Bola Tinubu somehow in 1999. But in 2023, he said, no, you can't become the president. The rest they say is history. But from our meeting in Apapa, down to Apapa, to Jebubo, down to Jibo, to his Lekki house, consistently, I covered him from 1999 to, let's say 2023 or 2022. Right. I can say that this man is like somebody that was as consistent as a Northern Star in Nigerian politics. And when it comes to the interests of the Western people of the country, especially the Yoruba race, Ayo Adebanjo is known to be a front fighter and a leader in this region.
All right, Ayo, I'll be back with you, but let's quickly go to Shola Ebisheni. Pa Ayo has now gone, but what would you say is his utmost wish? What can we call his last wish?
Well, Ayo Adebanjo, yes, I was with Baba last week ago after at the end of the general meeting of Afenifere, where we made some far-reaching statements, particularly on the release of Nnamdi Kanu. That precisely was part of his conviction that every ethnic nationality in Nigeria must be seen to be given a clear sense of belonging, that there must be equity in the in the running of Nigeria. That is what, like I said, in the last 2 decades, the man has not changed from the conviction that Nigeria should be a country where every group will feel comfortable. Because what is the essence of a federation in the first place? Every group has, just like an individual, his innate attributes or his innate rights to want to live life to his fullness, to the fullness of his comfort. But if we all agree to come together to have a country of our own, then it suffices that each and every group within that federation should be given a fair treatment. I just heard Ayo now was talking about the decision of Chief Ayo Adebanjo leading the Afenifere socio-political organization. I always say that Afenifere is not a socio-cultural, it's a socio-political organization. It was created in 1951 as a political organization. It was Action Group, the Yoruba interpretation of which is Afenifere because of his social welfarist ideology.
I hear you, Mr. Ebisheni.
Like consistent.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear, we can go on and on really talking about Pa Adebanjo. Yes, many people have many lovely things to say about him.
Yeah, what I'm just saying in this minute, what I'm just saying this minute
10 seconds.
Is that the last wish of Ayo Adebanjo is that Nigeria should be a federation of every ethnic nationalities. And like Ayo said, that was why he rooted, leading all of us to support the Labour Party candidate in 2023 elections because of his belief that, yes, the Southeast should be given a sense of belonging in the socio-political.
All right, Mr. Ebisheni, I hear you about his last wish. Let me quickly come to you, Ayo. Pa Adebanjo was a journalist. He was also a lawyer. How would you say these impacted his interactions with the media over time? And, have you heard anything just yet about calls for maybe immortalizing him?
A delight to talk to anytime. As a journalist, you will see that background in him before he studied law. He understood the basic principle of, you want scoop, and he will sit you down in his Lekki house. I'll sit down around his boys front yard, courtyard, and we have to talk. And after that time, he knows what he's going to give to me that will make the headline. He's a journalist by excellence. He's also a lawyer. And if you look at him throughout the time he spent with Chief Awolowo, that blood and that tenets of Awolowo, Awoism, as they call it, was always with him. And he believed in a restructured Nigeria. And this was what he advocated till he died. A restructured Nigeria, a restructured Nigeria. He was part of the House of the Constituent Assembly in 1978. That was over 47 years ago. And he came back in 2014 to be part of that assembly that was set up by Goodluck Jonathan, that actually Peripheral Reform Conference, that look, Nigeria should be reformed. He believed in a better and restructured Nigeria, and that was what he advocated for the rest of his life.
All right. Secretary of the Afenifere Group under Ayo Adebanjo, Shola Ebisheni, at TVC News, Senior Police Correspondent and Abuja Bureau Chief Ayodele Ozubakun. Thank you very much for these updates at this time.